think Latinos are having like a power moment. Like Bad Bunny, you have Pedro Pascal, and you have Jenna Ortega. We see it! And sometimes people like forget to acknowledge like how huge that is.
The movie does completely reimagine the opera Carmen, and it tells the story of Carmen, but this time it's all about Carmen who escapes her homeland in Mexico after her mother is brutally murdered, and then she crosses the border and there's a standoff, and then she runs off with a Marine with PTSD who's patrolling the border, who's played by Paul Mescal. I mean, and it spirals from there. I mean, wow. The plot, there's a lot going on, isn't there, babe?
There's a lot going on. It's very dramatic.
So many times when we see Mexican characters brought to the screen, they're told through a drugs or immigration lens or through those kind of storylines. And it's so important to have stories like this, like Carmen, where there's nuances to that and there's a multifaceted Mexican identity that is shown and brought to the screen. How important is that for you when you're looking for roles?
When I first moved to LA, I said to my team, I am not going to go out for drug cartel related stuff and like immigration, like being illegal aliens in the United States related stuff. Like I'm not feeding that narrative. It's all the industry wants to see us as, and we're so much more than that. So don't send me out for any project like that because I'm not going to do it. Curiously, when I got the breakdown for Carmen, it didn't say anything about what the story was. It basically was just like there's going to be a reimagining of the opera of Carmen, and she's Latina, and if you want to audition, send us a song. Just sing a song. That was it. That was all I knew about the project at the time. It wasn't until many months later, after I sent my tape, I didn't hear anything back. Like 6 or 7 months later, I get a call that Benjamin wanted to send me the script and some stuff of the project. And so I get this box and I read the script and I realize what the story is. And I was like, at first I was like, oh, like I said I wasn't going to do immigration related stuff. But this feels so different. Unlike told in a way that I've never seen it told before, through music and dance and romance and magic. Mexico is such a magical country. And I think that the world doesn't know all the magic that comes from Mexico and like the mysticism that we have. And I was so excited that all of that was a part of this movie. And I think when I'm approaching a role or a script that I'm excited about, a story, I always think, what is the message that this is putting out into the world? Because that to me is the most important thing. What message am I propagating with my art? And is it going to harm my people, or is it going to lift us up? And so I found that maybe in the telling of this immigration story through the lens of movement and dance and epic romance, there was a way to get through to the people that watch it of like the actual, like the plight of running across a border, where that comes from, the fear and the danger that is very real, that so many people that are right now sitting at the border waiting for asylum are, dealing with, and they're dehumanized by the media. And so I was like, if this is a way to get through to people, because it doesn't feel like we're teaching you and preaching you of like, look at these people, look at these poor people. It's more like, look at this story, come on this journey with us. And if it makes you think, and if it makes you have a conversation afterwards about the realities of the world, then that's incredible.
It's so true. And I think that the storyline around the American and Mexican border in our media has been so politicized over the last few years. And there's such in the media, it's kind of like this ongoing decision that they want to dehumanize immigrants over humanizing them. And this is what's so powerful about art and TV shows and media and what you've done with Carmen, because it brings that human experience and it says we are just like you. We are all in this together. We all want love. We've all got the same human experience inside of us, and we just want to find a better place, right?
Yeah. We want to find a place where we feel like we can stop running, when we feel safe and at home, and like we can be ourselves. That's it. Like that's all we want. Every human being wants that.
When you came to LA and you were going out for roles, what kind of hurdles or prejudice did you have to overcome to get the roles you deserved and you wanted?
That's a really good question. I Part of the motivation for moving to the United States was actually the excitement of starting over. Like I wasn't like, I knew that it was going to be hard, and like it's a bummer that like the 6 years that I had worked in Mexico weren't going to count for anything, because none of the things that I'd done crossed over, like it was just specifically for Mexican audiences. And so in the US, I was the new girl, and I knew that I wanted to go to a place where nobody knew me, because I wanted to prove myself. I wanted
Mm.
to demonstrate that I could make it based on my talent and not on anything else. And I wanted to not be judged like I constantly was judged in Mexico for doing telenovelas, when I wanted to like do movies and I wanted to do like TV shows outside of telenovelas. Like I felt like people would just look like side eye me of like, oh, you're a telenovela actress, and they never kind of let me break in. And so I was sick of that, and I was like, I need to start over, I need to start fresh, and I need to go somewhere where nobody knows me. So I was excited about that. And I knew that the experience that I had of 6 years of working would say something when I walked into a room. I'm not like this green actress that like just graduated and has no experience. No, I have like 6 years of working on sets under my belt and in theater. So I know what I can bring to a room. And I was excited about that aspect of it. And then I think the hurdles were mostly the getting the auditions. Like the hurdles of like being part of a minority group, being part of like being a Latina in an industry where they don't think about Latinas for a lot of roles. They kind of just give us a very specific lane and like a specific type of role most of the time. And so that was the hurdle, because I would like sometimes read breakdowns and I was like, I want to go in for that role, and they were like, no, they're not casting it diverse. And I was like, what does that mean? They were like, oh, that means that they're not seeing Latinas for it. And I was like, oh, they don't even give us a chance. That was the hurdle. Like fighting to get in rooms where they don't even think about you. They're not even acknowledging that they could cast this Latina. They just don't even think about that. So that was the biggest hurdle I think that I was dealing with, and a lot of people have been dealing with for forever. A lot, not just Latinas, like, all minorities that have been like fighting for a place, and they just don't even get a chance to be in the room.
And now you're sitting here as the representation that you needed and that the industry needed to see at that point to open their eyes to the casting process and to spread that net wider. Does that feel amazing to be able to sit here with the body of work that you've been able to achieve in the last few years, knowing that you've become that representation that you needed?
It does feel amazing. I do feel very lucky and very blessed to be sitting here and to be doing things that feel exciting, and to have the opportunities that I've had and that I continue to get. And I don't take that lightly, but I also know that there's still a lot of work to be done.
Mm.
There's so like few of us out there. I mean, we're growing. I think Latinos are having like a power moment, because like the most, if you think about it, like right now in this quarter of 2023, the most popular people in the entertainment industries are all Latinos. Like Bad Bunny is the number one musician, the most popular, and he's Puerto Rican. And you have Pedro Pascal killing it in The Last of Us, and he's Chilean. And you have Jenna Ortega that like is the global phenomenon on Wednesday, and she is American, but like she has, I think, Puerto Rican and Mexican in her family. So you have, like we see it. And sometimes people like forget to acknowledge like how huge that is. You have the most popular people in the world, the ones that are like that people are loving to watch, and they're all Latino right now. That's huge, and we just need to, yes, celebrate them, but we want more. Like we want, I think what the conversation always is like, representation in the entertainment industry should kind of reflect what the world looks like. And for the longest time, it hasn't. And we're slowly, I think, writing that and balancing that out. And so I keep, I'm very lucky that I get to be where I am, and I keep fighting for roles that are not meant for me, because I know that the roles that are like meant for Latinos will get cast as Latinos, and like that's great for like opportunities for people. But I keep fighting for the ones that are not for us, because I want to prove that we can do that too. Like, even if you didn't think that you could cast me in this, like I am good enough for that, and you can. And if you do, it's great, because that means one more space for us instead of just like having to fight over the ones that they designated for us.